Have a legal question? Are you a resident of Montgomery County? Call 281-645-6344 to talk to a volunteer attorney from the Woodlands Bar Association. We answer the phones on the first Monday of every month at 281-645-6344 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. to provide general legal information and information about legal resources to Montgomery County residents.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. And I appreciate it. And this beautiful day out there is so pretty, and it's just perfect weather. And I thought it was just freezing all weekend. To me, it was really cold, and it was kind of miserable. But I loved it because all you have to do is think back on August. And that's how you get through any of the cold in Texas. And, climate change is funny to me. It's just so that term is so funny because when you live in Texas, we have climate change every 15 minutes. You keep all your clothes out. You keep your summer clothes, your winter clothes, your fall clothes, because it changes all the time. So I think that whenever they talk about that, and people that use it for like a religion or something, and that the earth is going to hell in a handbasket because of climate change, I just, I've lived here 75 years, and we're still having climate change, and we make it through, and it's okay. But I would rather do that than live in a place where there's snow all the time, and
No way.
Oh, you would like to live in the snow, really? It doesn't bother you? That doesn't bother you?
Well, I wouldn't want to live in a place. I thought you were saying you want to live in a place.
No, I don't.
But you're also talking about an area where we live is like we're pretty close to the equator, and we're also like in the middle of where winds go into and fro areas. So it's like you're going to get hurricanes, you're going to get tornadoes, you're going to get flooding, you're going to get all sorts of stuff here.
Yeah.
So that's climate change enough for me to believe that it happens, but I don't think it's something that
climate changes. Yeah.
I don't understand why this is a big deal to you, because is it on Fox News this week or something?
No, I'm talking about the people that talk about climate change as being, it's we have control of making this earth, not have all these hurricanes and all these monsoons and all that stuff. Like we're in control of all that, and that's what.
Well, we are.
No, we're not.
You can make a change in this world.
No, do you know that they're talking about, I told you about, they want to send up in space all these little reflective films, and it would reflect the sun away from the earth and back on itself, and that way we would have more stable climate.
Let's try it. Why not?
Well, they used to seed the clouds to make it rain, and that was as much control.
Yeah,
as
but I also think that kind of technology isn't proven. It's like they do have the ability to try, but it's not like 100% every single time. Because if it was 100% every time, farmers would be going crazy.
Exactly, and we would have been doing that.
But I know people do it, but I mean, I think it's something that is it that important to your region that you try to do something.
I don't know. I just see God up there going, what are they doing now? And how in control that we want to be, that it drives people crazy. Anyway, so Thanksgiving happened,
Yeah.
and what do you think? Well, how was it?
It was fine. I did learn that the best day to go to the grocery store is the day after Thanksgiving.
The day after
Yeah,
Thanksgiving?
no one was there.
Yeah, but there's nothing on the shelf. The shelves are empty.
Yeah, you're right. There was a couple things missing, but it was something I didn't even think about because I actually went on Thanksgiving to the grocery store, and then I went the next day because we were getting stuff for the weekend, and I was like, "That's crazy how no one's here because everyone already got all their groceries."
Right.
But it was a great experience. It's like, yeah,
I couldn't believe our administration was saying how, boy, this year you're going to be able to have more food on the table, and the groceries are going down, and it's going to be great.
Expensive.
And I'm like, what are they talking? It costs me so much money.
Well, you know what I kind of like about it though is it gives everyone a new perspective of making it work. So, for example, like say I like a certain type of whiskey, and the whiskey that I've been buying for 10 years has gone up like double in price. And like, well, I'm not going to buy that anymore. I got to try something different,
something cheaper,
or something that fits my budget. Same thing with food. I mean, you're always kind of like aware now of like, oh, what steak it would be really good, and do I really want to buy a fillet or a ribeye or what works?
Right.
So I think it's good. I think everyone should do it.
Well, it's amazing because it seems like we had so much food, and I always forget to do something. You know, as soon as everybody leaves, I open the refrigerator door and I went, "Oh shoot, I didn't bring out the this or that," and it's okay because we should need it. But everybody likes to take stuff home, and when your family all gets together, do you do people like not doggy bag, but to-go boxes?
Yeah.
You do?
Well, I mean, this Thanksgiving was really odd. So, because no one was there.
Oh, that's right. It was just you and your.
And this is it was funny. I laughed about it because this is the first Thanksgiving I was alone.
Oh, that's
because usually
right.
on Thanksgiving I'm gone, but this is the first time I'm like, oh, cool, I get to be home for Thanksgiving, and then no one shows up, and I'm like, maybe I should just take a note from my siblings and just go somewhere else for Thanksgiving next year and just tell my parents to stuff it.
What?
Literally.
Well, why isn't your older brothers inviting y'all over to their house?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, one of my brothers has 6 kids, I think, and then.
Oh, well, that could be a problem, but I mean,
but also,
you have a lot of brothers.
That's one thing I've learned is usually the females are in charge of Thanksgiving, meaning like where they go, or holidays.
Right.
So you can't really fault my brothers being like, I just don't want to deal with my wife yelling at me if I want to go, and especially with the atmosphere at my house. Our house is so easy-go-lucky kind of thing, where it's like it doesn't matter. Like if you want to come. If you don't come, like you think we're gonna be really mad at you and leave you out of the will. You know, that kind of thing. So
that is, I watch all these 30s, 40s movies in the family gathers for the reading of the will, and it's so bourgeoisie sounding, but you actually have that going on. I mean, your parents could hold stuff over your head and say,
"Oh yeah,
you better do what I say," or you don't.
That was my ongoing joke with them, is why they had so many kids. Because if one screws up, you got 5 other ones that might treat you better.
Sure.
So it's kind of one of those things. And if you're only have a single child, you're kind of SOL. Like if he turns out to be a bad apple, it's like, because that always amazed me when I meet people, especially for Thanksgiving, that didn't see their families. Like it was like a comfortable thing. Like, yeah, I'm not going to see them. Like I'm just gonna hang out here. But I'm like, really, you never go home for Thanksgiving?
But then again, a turkey sandwich and a Diet Coke and chips, and that's what we're going to do. That would be so amazing. Yeah. But at least now, because Chad's married to a wonderful woman, and and she can do one holiday and I can do the other, unless she goes out of town, and then we're back to where we started from. But most of the time, the guys go hunting. That's why I have this shirt on. I know you probably couldn't see me, but the guys go hunting, And Sam and Chad would always be gone. They're just like, they're gone. And that's so rude. They need to go hunting after the holiday when the family gets together.
No, when hunting season starts, what I've learned, especially growing up in a hunting family, it's like you go every opportunity you get until you use your tags.
Yeah.
So it might all happen in one weekend. It might not. It might take all 8 weeks or whatever the season is. But that's the only time they could go, and they probably look forward to that every year. So you don't want to change their habits that makes them happy.
Well, I was miserable every time Sam would start talking about Carl's invited me to go hunting, and I go, but you just got home from being gone because he was a traveling salesman.
Yeah.
And I said, you're going somewhere else, and I'd get so mad. My mother would tell me, just look, the deal is he's gone. He's having a good time. He's enjoying himself.
Why you have a
he's
good
relaxing. That's exactly what she said. She said, you need to go do all the stuff that he doesn't like to do with you.
Like go to the movies.
And go see every movie that he can't stand, and go be with your friends.
Do you think people get into a rut where they don't see that as even an option? Like the fact that it's not even in their day-to-day life where it's like, oh, I want to go do something on my own or whatever.
Right. Sure. Because if the other partner doesn't want you to be gone and they need to know where you are and what you're doing and what's going on. And Sam loves this job that I have. He does not want me to ever stop. Because I told him after November we thought, I said, okay, that's it. And he goes, no, you have to keep doing that because you've got to. That's what you've got to do. You've got to be on there. And that's
I wish
great
I had that encouragement. Yeah. Yeah.
But now the kids are just the opposite. Grandma, you're too old to be going to stay home. And
well, I mean, I think it's sad that a lot of people get into that rut and they don't realize it, or they just don't see the opportunities that are out there, especially with technology and how easy it is to get involved or do something.
Right.
And then especially something that long term would help you mentally so much.
Yeah.
But since it's not instant gratification, I think that's why a lot of people do drugs, because it's instant and it's like, there you go.
Well, I think you.
Is that why you do drugs?
No, it's because the doctors tell me I have to
do drugs.
Yes.
Yeah. That's weird that your doctor gives you prescriptions out of his car.
Well, maybe that's a little shady, but actually, it's how many insulin shots I have to take.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine that.
I got Trulicity, Basclar, and Novolog, and I don't know how does your body. I'd love to have a doctor explain to me how does it separate and send it where it needs to go.
It figures it out.
It does, just figures it out. And then I take 5 pills, and I know your liver and your kidneys hate to have to deal with all those pills, breaking them down and sending them where it's supposed to go, and dealing with them. And so I feel like, should I take this every day? Maybe I should lay off for a couple of days and see how I feel.
All right.
That's my justification for forgetting to take my medicine. I'm just trying to let my body rest from all that medicine. No, I know people are going, you're so stupid. You got to take your medicine every day. It's got to be the same time so you keep your body leveled. I've never done that. I can't remember.
Yeah. You have that time blindness that we were talking about.
What?
You have the time blindness.
Time blindness.
Yeah.
Tell me what's the name of it?
It's called time blindness.
You said it's some name like a. No, you were talking about your nephew.
That's something else. No, that's a new thing that's common. People use it as an excuse not to keep track of time.
Right, and
they think it's associated with ADHD or ADD.
I've got to tell Cindy about that so that she can use that the next time she's tardy. She's been tardy several times, and so if she'll go in and tell them that, they've got to believe it because.
Well, one thing that I'm kind of curious, especially with people who are older, is as you were growing older, did things start getting more ridiculous? Where like when I first heard time blindness. Mm-hmm. I actually thought it was like an actual physical thing that happened to your body. Like I was born without a thing in my brain. Because, some people are born like that where it's like, oh, that person can't lift their left hand ever. So it's actually like a physical ailment.
Right.
And then when when I actually looked into it, it's like, no, literally, it's just people who can't keep track of time.
Right.
And I'm going like, well, what does that even mean? Like, you can't set an alarm, and the alarm can't tell you to wake up, or like you don't listen to alarms. Like, how does that even? But apparently, it's a new thing that I'm constantly amazed.
They just gave the name
stuff.
to it. They just gave that name to that, and so all of the people that were coming back out of the pandemic and trying to get to work, and they can't get to work on time, and they started saying they have time blindness.
Like, because I found on. I like to read the internet a lot and forums. You don't even know if they're real people or not, but someone wrote a thing about their sisters getting married, and it's going to be at the courthouse. But there's a problem with the family because the family wants them to accommodate the brother who has time blindness, and he doesn't. They want to like accommodate, make sure he's there. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why are they treating this like he's a disabled person? Like, why don't someone just go pick him up? And it's like, is he incapable of getting dressed that morning? Like
that. Yeah, that would be interesting to find out.
Like they were trying to tell the the fiance, like, hey, no, let's just choose a time that works for him.
Right.
The guy, your brother, because he has time blindness.
Call the judge. Tell the judge we'll be there whenever we get there. I don't know how people have people like to go get married in the courthouse. You just have that office space, and the judge stands up at the desk and says...
Well, it's also one of those things where it's like similar to I was telling the story about Thanksgiving, the way my family always kind of perceives it now. It's like, if you want to come, come. If you don't, don't.
Right.
So, like, if you want to go get married in there at this time, go do it. Like, that's the time they gave you. Because that was the issue, was the court gives you the time.
Right.
Like, you don't just show up and be like, I want to get married. It's like, no, we're going to give you Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And like, oh, we're worried about John because John has time blindness and he might not make 4 o'clock. It's like, what are you?
So he says that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Time blindness.
I don't know.
That's amazing.
I love it though, because like I said, that's why I always wanted older people to tell me like, what shocked you? Because I feel like every month or so, I read something that's just completely bizarre, and like, this is a thing.
Well,
and with the internet, you learn so much more so fast.
Right.
And it's just constantly.
Oh man,
happening.
Everything's passing. You know, that's what I feel like. Sam feels like everything's passing him by.
Well,
yeah. Going on.
Well, like the gender stuff is amazing to me because I don't think I've ever been in a situation where I wanted to tell somebody what my gender was. Like, I have to tell them. So when I see like the he, she, him, her, whatever, I'm like, what? Who feels like they need to tell me that?
Well, every form that you filled out was male or female, and of course you did that. But now they've got other. But
it's part of the introduction dialogue now. Mm-hmm. It's part of it, and that's really strange to me because usually, like when you introduce yourself to somebody, it's usually my name is so and so. What's yours? But now it's like we give our resume. We have to give them our medical background, and it's just kind of like, oh yeah, he has time blindness.
This was when the pandemic came, and you'd have to tell people whether you've had your shots or not, like an animal. You know, like, I've had my shots, and I can come into this restaurant or I can do that, and the mask and all that. That was totally
no,
weird.
It's great. You just lie about it. Just lie.
No,
like, who cares?
But I had to carry around a card that said I had my shots.
I never. It's probably because you go to the hospital all the time for your drugs.
No, it was going to different doctors. Going to a different doctor, they'd have to know that you've had your shots, you know, and all that. And so you come in and sit down, and to clear a room, you walk in during the pandemic. You walk in and you have a mask on, and it's like in the early stages of it, but everybody was really afraid of it. But if you walked in and you were coughing or sneezing or anything, everybody would move far away from where you were sitting. It was really sad.
But yeah,
it was terrible.
There's always something amazing to me coming down the pipeline. Like, I'm really excited about what the next one is.
What's the next one?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't really know what it's going to be, but it's kind of exciting.
Well, they were talking about yesterday that in China, they're having a really hard time with the RSV. It's just a big tick up of that, and now it's being combined with flu, and so they can't tell if it's flu or RSV, and they don't know how to separate the two, and so all the hospitals have been talking about it. But all you have to do is have somebody going to high school, and they will tell you what's the next thing that's going to be, because it's happening there. And they have got such, the nurse. I talked to the nurse at Willis High School. She said, "Oh man, this RSV stuff is just." And we can't tell. We just don't know if they have COVID or it's RSV or what it is. And these kids are coming through
traditionally,
here.
what would happen is if your child was sick, you go home. And then if this child is sick for multiple days,
9.
then you go figure it out. It's never like we don't need to know what it is right now. It's just be sick for a day or two. And then if you're not getting better, then, we'll go to the doctor.
No, you have 9 days to be absent, and you have to be out of there 5 days if you have COVID, if you've tested, positive.
Well, that's
for
why,
COVID.
and that kind of stuff is arbitrary to me because, like, if you're going to set those 9-day rule, but then you have all these things that work against you for those 9 days, like, I'm not going to follow that. Like,
But here's what I get so mad at is because they won't take a parent's or the.
they used to, though, right?
They don't take a parent's note anymore.
Regardless. Like,
It's not,
say you want to take your kid to McDonald's. It's like we want to have a grandma daughter day or
Right.
whatever.
no.
And
no.
it's like you can't just lie. You can't come in like, because I remember that's like how my parents would do that for me when we had like we were going on vacation or something, and my dad wanted to leave a couple days early. He'd be like, "Oh, you're just sick." That's what, like we're just gonna tell them you're sick and you're gonna miss 2 days because we want to get on the road. And that went through. I guess now you have to forge a doctor's
It has
note.
to have a doctor's note, and I mean, I had
Then
to
it doesn't
take.
count as an absent.
If it's a doctor's note, it does counts as an absence, and
So you have 9 total absences now
yeah,
at
but
Willis High
but it's
School
an
or whatever.
excused absence.
So it doesn't
if it's
count
a doctor's
towards the
note.
9.
No,
Does
the
not count
doctor's note doesn't count toward the
the 9 total
Yeah,
you get.
but just having a parent's
Doesn't count.
well, and I kind of understand that.
That's not that bad.
But my mom would write notes saying, Cindy said she was sick. So I'd have to tear that up and I'd have to rewrite it and give them, I'd just forge her name and give it to them and said Cindy was sick instead of saying she said she was sick. I said, Mom, do you understand? That sounds like you don't believe me.
Yeah.
She said, well, I don't know that you're really sick. You're just telling me you're sick. So I said, but I've had fever.
Did you like talk to your mom once a day or something?
What do you mean?
Like she didn't inquire, like, oh, are you sick? Like, how are you feeling? It's more of like, oh, hi, Mom, I was sick, and then you leave.
No.
Give me a note.
Give me a note. I was sick. Well, she said she was sick, and she said I wasn't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to him. So it was. I had to forge them.
Well, it was funny about that to me is there was no, there's nothing in your mother that even put her hand on your forehead. It's like, oh, are you sick? Let's see. Let's get a thermometer and see if you're sick.
No,
It's like you're just telling me. Okay, like okay.
No, she would do the. I don't. Do you know what Argerol is?
No.
It's like a 60s or something, 50s medicine, and she would use that to, like, put it in her nose and cause us to. She felt like it would really heal anything, and it was horrible, like the honey and alum, honey and that stuff that would make you throw up. She says, let's see if this will help you throw up. And so you didn't want to really be sick because her homemade remedies would make everything worse. So it was...
So that's why you didn't talk to your mom ever?
No, I just... but
I mean,
try not to cough or sneeze around her because she'd have something for you to do.
It sounds like one of those typical... What is it, like the rich parents or the parents don't even pay attention? Like the only time you talk to them is at the dinner table, and it's like, oh, by the way, Mom, I need a sick note. Okay, you're sick. Oh, here you go.
She said she was sick. No, it was horrible.
Okay,
But her handwriting was really easy to copy. So, and I never told her.
Yeah, I think growing up, especially with the sick idea, like I hated being sick. Because there really wasn't like an easy way to get, like, it wasn't like, oh, I get a whole day by myself at home. It's like, it was never like that. Like, even if I was sick, I still had to do something. So very rarely did I get to be sick and then get to sleep in. It's like, no, you're still waking up. You're still gonna eat breakfast. You're still gonna mow the yard or whatever. And like, so even the benefit of faking sick wasn't worth it.
Well, my mom, I knew every day, her sisters and her would get together and they'd go places. They go to the mall, they go shopping, they go to a movie, and so I wanted to stay home and be with them, and do what they do. And she would make me stay there, and I'd have to call the drugstore.
So did you even graduate?
Yes.
Sounds like you just skipped a lot of school. What do they call that back in the day? Playing hooky? Is that what it is?
No, you were sick.
Yeah, according
They
to
didn't.
this
They
piece
didn't
of
say
paper.
that. No, I never played hooky ever. I didn't go to not go to school. Like, I walked to school, and a lot of kids would get their friends to pick them up, and then they'd go somewhere.
Yeah.
I never did that stuff.
There's a term for it. I don't know what it is for skipping school.
It's just I think it's still skip day.
I don't think I've ever skipped school.
You never have.
No.
Okay. And you made A's and stuff like that. You were.
I coasted by. I think I was more of a B student, like C plus B student. I made A's and stuff I was good at, but then everything else, like I never studied ever. I never studied for anything.
You didn't?
No.
Oh man, I took general math.
I
and
did
had
that.
trouble with
That mentality lasted me all the way through college. Like I never studied in college, and I graduated. I graduated in 4 years. I probably could have graduated earlier if I knew what I was doing.
Well, I think a principal wrote a note to my mom one time and said, Cindy could be doing great if she'd just come to school. I mean, I think that she's really smart, but she just doesn't. She needs to come to school
Interesting.
all the time.
So your parents didn't even know where you were.
Yes, they
So
did.
you were like a wild child.
Yeah, I was really wild.
Boyfriends. That's probably where you started your drug habit. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
You better quickly disclaim that. Richard just loves, because he thinks, oh, you don't do anything wrong, Cindy. You're so perfect. So I have to he's trying to make y'all feel
no
like
one's
I'm
perfect.
real. No, I'm certainly not
Except my
perfect.
mother. My mother's perfect.
Your mother's an angel.
Yeah, she's an angel.
You know.
And I was born from an angel, so you know what that means.
I know.
I'm half angel.
Well, you're half angel.
I'm half angel.
Yeah.
But
I don't know which hat that is. But
Yeah. What else is going on, Cindy? I mean, I know Thanksgiving was a tiring time for you because you basically do everything. That's your role in the household. And
no, that's my.
well, that's one thing I love.
I'm the woman, and so
I love listening to conversations about like the roles people have in their lives, and now it's becoming such everything's getting flipped upside down, right? Because women don't have to do X, Y, Z. People aren't having babies, and it's just like this whole dynamic. It's changing, but then everyone grew up with the opposite, so they have to go home and deal with their Republican parents or whatever.
Yes.
And I what I'm kind of concluding is we're getting to the point in society where it's okay just to do whatever you want, and damn the consequences.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think that's fine. I think
there's an excuse for everything.
I think it's great.
You don't want to do,
especially when you hit a brick wall when that consequences you can't get around it. But I also think that it's up to us as individuals to hold people accountable too.
Well, it's gotten so crazy, though, that people are doing things like there was like a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid at the Raiders game. And or maybe anyway, the team that we used to be called Indians, and now they're not. They're not called the Indians.
You mean the Washington?
The Washington, yeah.
Yeah, they used to be called the Redskins, and now they're...
Yeah, the Redskins. And so this little boy comes, and he had painted half of his face.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. He actually had a headdress and everything on.
Yeah. And now they're demanding the woke people are demanding that...
Well, we should scan it like
the
tar and
NFL
feather. Tar and feather.
The NFL should come in and do something about this
Yeah.
and hold this kid accountable for that.
What are they even
was
called
so
now, though?
sad.
They're not the Redskins. So, like, why was the kid even dressed up as a Redskin?
I don't know. His
Aren't
dad
they like
may
the
have
Washington Sentinels or something like that? I forget what their new name is. Let's look it up.
been yeah. Well, get a picture of that kid.
Well, you know what's funny to me is, can you imagine the owners meeting, and the guy who owns the Washington Redskins, and then you have the Kansas City Chiefs, And then you have, some other teams all there, and they're like, yeah, Redskins, you got to change your name. And then everyone's kind of like, oh, man, I can't believe we're doing this. We're giving in. Da-da-da. It's such a, this is a good thing for the NFL. You're changing your name. We're going to be positive going forward. And then this one guy that kind of leans over is like, well, what about the Chiefs?
Right.
Oh, they're good. They're good. And that Washington guy was like, well, what about the Chiefs? Why does I have to change that or redo everything? You know how much that's going to cost? Da, 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 da. What about this guy? Nah, he's good. Nah, he's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Well, it's so
he
sad.
could still be the Chiefs.
You know what, Richard? Squirrel. Did you see what I sent you? Could we play that video?
We'll do that later.
Wasn't that funny?
Again, it's like I'm fascinated how things used to be,
Yes.
and I'm excited about where things are going because you just never know what the next thing's going to be,
Right.
and especially how it adapts to the current society. Because I'm always amazed when older people are able to adapt quicker than younger people to certain things, like paying bills. Like the time blindness is really affecting people paying their bills, and
I got to use that sometime.
But yeah, no,
that's great.
it's something that it's what's crazy to me. I'm currently getting a car, and I've only got one car in my life, and that was 13 years ago, and so it's getting to that point where my car is kind of like, are you gonna blow up today, or blow up tomorrow? And I told you I found the squirrel in my car and all that kind of stuff.
No, I didn't hear about the squirrel.
I found a squirrel. This is what got me thinking about getting a new car, even though the squirrel has nothing to do with getting a new car. It was just kind of like, oh, maybe I should start thinking about getting
How did it get into your car?
I have no idea. It just lived in there for a couple of days. It was pretty funny. It was entertaining to me because it was like, what do you do? And then what did it break? Because I like to fix things. But then it was constantly fixing things. I was like, I got to kill this thing. If I saw this thing, I'm shooting it. And but I went online and did what it told me, and it went away. So,
well,
but now
what's the one that eats the wires and?
They ate all my wires. They ate all my ignition wires. It ate my temperature. That's what started the whole thing was because my engine check engine light came on, and it told me that my sensor basically I needed to have more engine coolant. And I was like, okay, I'll go buy some coolant. And when I opened the hood, and I didn't even see the nest, I just knew where the engine coolant was, so I started filling it up. And then I was like, wait, did I put that there? What is that?
It was a nest?
It was like a nest on top of the engine.
Did it look like a bird's nest?
Yeah,
or?
it looked like it was insulation from my car, like the engine block.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then I took it out, and then all I saw the wires were chewed up. He chewed up the sensor. That's why it went off. And then it chewed up some ignition wires. That's why it's misfiring. And I was just like, what are the odds?
That's crazy. Good grief.
But anyway, for some reason I wanted to get a new car now. And now looking at cars, I don't know how people get anything they want. Because you're kind of you're not paying $90,000 for a truck.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's what people are paying.
Well, it is so sad how the prices have just tripled, doubled, tripled, and people try and go to buy a car. Well, it's like the houses. I mean, houses. When I watch the HGTV,
Oh yeah,
and all the houses are like. When the person said, all I want to spend is $300,000, and they go, you're not going to get anything for $3,000.
Well, I think that there's a combination of things going on, and especially in America where everyone's working remotely, so they will, if they really want to own a home. And
so they can take it off the income tax?
Well, no, they want to own a home. And it's like, we live in New York. We can't own a home. And it's like, we all work remotely, so let's go live in Wyoming or something. And then,
true, yeah.
A lot of people, especially here in Conroe, that's why a lot of people are moving up here. But it's expensive now to live up here. But the further north you go, the cheaper it gets. So it's like, how long do you want to drive?
You think the further north towards Dallas, the cheaper
There's going
to
be a pendulum of it, yeah. At one point, but if you, for example, when somebody lives in Katy and drives all the way to Houston for work.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people are putting up with it because they can afford a house out there.
Right. That's true. Well, in some of the places.
Because there's a lot of I know a lot of people who live in Huntsville and drive to Houston.
And drive to Houston,
Yeah, for work, and I'm like, that's insane.
Oh, that's like would be about 2.5 hours.
So it could be, but that's just what people are doing, and that's cool. They do whatever they want. And
Yeah.
they're breaking their cars.
But by the time they get home.
But I was amazed how expensive cars were, and especially how, like, even buying a used car, you're overpaying. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be an idiot and overpay. Like, well, I don't want to be an idiot.
Because it was like a 35,000. Was it 35,000 for a used car?
Well, the
used truck?
the car I was looking at, they had a used one for $40,000, and you can get a brand new one for $35,000.
Oh,
But they don't have any, so it's like you have to order one.
Yeah, and it takes how long?
They told me it's going to take up to a year. They have no
year.
idea. They have no idea. And it just kind of like really put in perspective. It's like, man, I don't want to. What are people doing these days? Because it's like no wonder the used car market's gone way up because people can't afford $90,000 cars, so they buy a used one, and then everyone's selling their used cars $5,000 more than a brand new one. It's like
and the gas that a truck would require, and
well, I know I'm a climate conscious person, and I'm getting a hybrid.
You're getting a hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes it's battery, sometimes it's But what does the battery cost if it goes out?
Oh, probably like $1 million. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably a couple thousand. If I had to guess, I mean.
So what would you use most, the gas or the battery?
Well, I think how the specific car I'm getting is, I think when it's 0 to 30 is when it uses the battery. But it also depends on your acceleration. So if you like just slam on the gas, it's going to turn on the gas.
Oops,
engine.
I couldn't have that.
So
I tried. Sam tried to put me on that thing where it's monitoring how you're doing and if you're accelerating too much, and I failed every test. And he said, "Just forget it, forget it."
Oh, we had one of those with my my ex, and she was such a terrible driver to the point where their insurance had to require them to put that on their deal, and it would beep if you would do something like brake too fast and stuff like that. And one time I remember driving the car and she got so furious with me for making it beep. And I'm thinking to myself, I did it one time and like the whole car trip.
Uh-huh.
How many times do you do it a day?
A day.
It's like you really
out the driveway.
And what I love is how unsafe that creates a driver because they're trying to follow their rules, so they're probably accelerating and like it's just funny to me. And I'm sitting there going like, that's insane. And
shoot,
but somehow, knock on wood, I've only been in like one accident my entire life.
Really? That's good. And now I haven't gotten a speeding ticket. It used to come in threes when I get speeding tickets. I don't know why, but I haven't gotten in a long time. So I've been doing really, really good. The age has helped.
Well, one thing I've noticed,
down.
I kind of want to look at Conroe PD's ticket quota thing because I don't really see a lot of people getting pulled over unless it's like obnoxious, meaning like they're going 100. Or basically they're tailing them because they have a warrant or they, have a tail light out or something like that. So
what's remember everybody was afraid to drive through what's the place right before the Woodlands?
Shenandoah?
Shenandoah. Everybody's afraid to drive through Shenandoah because you got stopped all the time.
Yeah.
You'd had like 2 miles over the speed limit. Like,
yeah.
It was crazy. And so that slowed everybody down. And they said, I used to do a thing called Officer of the Year when I was with Silver Rock. And we'd bring all those officers together and talk to them. And they would have the greatest stories about stopping people. And officers, all of them should write books because it's great. They're great. Why can't we play the video now? Is there a reason?
I just don't have it pulled up.
Why'd you want to wait till?
I was just trying to pass it off so we don't have to do it at all. You didn't fall for it. So.
Okay, this video. I mean, it's going to speak to like Dennis is going to
pull it up. Only a second. Like it's on Facebook. It's probably fake.
If they could only do that with the tech devices of today, this would be great.
Okay.
So make sure the audio is.
I know. I'm trying to set it up.
That lady is hilarious.
See, you don't even have a headset, so you can't even hear it.
I'm
No,
from your telephone
but I heard,
company, and
watched
the
it 3
message that we
times.
have for you is that we are changing your telephone service over
The audience
to
is
dial.
hearing it?
Now,
Yeah.
let's use this demonstration model for a moment
Oh,
while we
geez.
dial our number. Take up your receiver and always listen for the dial tone. Remember how it sounds, a steady hum. Now, let's dial the number we looked up and made a note of. Remember, always be sure to dial the first 2 letters of the central office name, then the 5 numbers. For example, for word 49970, dial
Look.
W O 4 9 9 7 0. When dialing, notice that I brought my finger around until it firmly touched the finger stop. And now I remove my finger and let the dial go back by itself. Hello, everyone. I'm
Wasn't
from
that
your
perfect?
telephone company, and the message that we have for
I
you is
guess.
that we are changing your telephone
mean,
service.
That's just how you had to do it back then.
But the phones really didn't look. I mean, it wasn't that big. But
Well, she says that this is a demonstration model, so you can see it.
I know.
Because I was wondering why they didn't put the headset as big as the dial. That would have been really, a good comic moment.
Oh,
right
that
there.
would have been. Yeah, that would have been great. And she puts it up to her ear.
So that's how you use the phone.
That's how I use the phone.
Yeah.
You had to dial.
You had to touch the finger stop.
What do you mean?
That's what that little metal piece was, where you go around and you stop.
Oh, yeah, right. And I think that was funny because I always wanted one of the phones I saw in the movies, the old movies, where you pick it up and hold it.
Operator.
Yeah, and I guess the operator did everything for you because
Your local. Yeah.
you didn't have a 411 or anything like that.
That's
or-
why everyone you could only have so many people on the line in the neighborhood because.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh man, party lines were great. I lived in a place where party line, and I loved listening to them talk. It was better than any housewife show you've ever seen. They were great because they just didn't care. They talked about everything, and if you were on the line with them, they didn't care you were listening to their conversations. But it was so much fun. Didn't have a lot to do, but and TV didn't come on until 4:00 in the afternoon. So you had to find something to do till then. So you listen to Party Line. But anyway, I just wish they would have had, something like that whenever you got your first phone, your mobile phone. There were those bricks, those big bricks.
Yeah.
And I was so excited when I got mine. Southwestern Bell gave all the salesmen and the production people their phone. So I got this big brick, and there's nobody to call because nobody has a phone. And you had to call mobile to mobile, and it wasn't like I could call. And it wasn't until, I don't know how much later, that I could call my mom's phone at home and talk to her before she got
Yeah.
a mobile phone. But those things were huge.
Now we don't have that problem anymore. Everyone has a cell phone. You get an Obama phone.
Right.
I don't know anyone that has an Obama phone though. I feel like that was like a fake thing.
No, it wasn't.
Did you meet anybody with an Obama phone?
I know, but they were mad because when everybody didn't get a Obama phone. But that commercial, not that commercial, but the video they kept playing of that girl go, we've got Obama and we're going to have everybody's going to get an Obama phone and it's going to be great. And they
Let me see.
uh-oh.
Obama phone. I want to see if it's.
Is it still on there? I bet it is. I bet they still have it. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Wow, it's actually a website. I feel like this is fake because it's literally ObamaPhone.com.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my
But no, it has a
goodness.
lot of ads on it. This has got to be fake. It's got to be fake.
Maybe the only one that appreciated that.
It's got to be. But that website's
That
got to be fake.
video.
I know. I mean, I think a lot of stuff in this world people don't know exists until they just like ask Google.
Yeah.
And you have no, again, like going back to the car thing, like I haven't bought a car, so I have no idea like what negotiation is, what prices really are. Like I was sitting there kind of overwhelmed. I was like, there's a lot of stuff that I don't understand. Like I have a budget. And then, of course, you go down the YouTube rabbit hole and you start watching hours and hours of stuff. And you're like, okay, I think I get the gist of it. And everyone's getting ripped off. That's what.
Well, and that cash isn't king, and you've got, you're able to lay down the money. Here's what I'm going to.
Well, I also think, see, that's where the thing I realize is if cash is king because you have a budget. Meaning,
maybe
like,
to
if
you,
you have
but-
the cash, that means you don't have to deal with the struggle. You're like, what you want, you
Right.
know what it costs, and you're like, I don't need to negotiate because that's what I want to pay.
Right, but
Now-
cash is king to you, but they want you to sign that,
No, I meant more of the mentality of cash is king. Like you're not, because people who go in and try to negotiate, that's like who they are. They negotiate the whole everything they
yeah.
have, and car dealerships are like the number one negotiation thing
Mm-hmm.
people always think about. But also, some people like me, I don't care. If this car is $10,000, I know I need $10,000 to get it,
Yeah.
one way or another. Like I'm not going to complain that it was $10,000 because it says $10,000. Now, if I know the tricks and they're tricking me and they're lying to me
Yeah.
about stuff, that's one thing I've learned through these online videos. It's like, man, dealers can really just nickel and dime people.
Oh, you mean you want a engine in it? Okay, we have one like
Well,
that.
no,
but
it's
a
that.
little bit
Well,
more.
that 10,000 price is the starting price. That's basically what.
Right,
that's what I've
right.
learned. It's like, hey, that's the starting price. Now we're gonna have to like talk about the add-ons you want. And I'm like, oh my god, I just want to give you $10,000 like get a car.
That's hilarious. Gullo and Gullo was. You remember when Gullo was with someone else? It was two names. I can't remember the
I
names.
don't. Well, see, actually, that's where I went. And when the guy was like, "Yeah, it's $40,000," like, but you're telling me this is a used 2022 model for $40,000, but I can just order a brand new one, 2024, same car for $35,000? Yeah. Okay. Why don't I just do that? And he was like, "Well, there's something I can really help you with," and I'm like,
But are you financing? You didn't tell him you're going to finance. You're going to give him the cash, right?
"No, I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm doing."
Okay.
But
Well,
it's just,
Sam-
but I'm talking about the mentality people have when it's like,
Sure.
it's kind of crazy town, right? And then, but unfortunately, some people are stuck in a scenario where they have to have a car today.
Was
So
Sam said, wait, Sam wants me to tell you something. Is that you need to wait before you buy it, to wait till the day before their inventory, like at the very end of the year, because they've got so much inventory and that with that year, and they're going to have to depreciate that price.
Well, see, that's the issue is they have zero inventory of the car I want anywhere.
Truth. Oh, that's right. You're
Anywhere.
right. Yeah, so that doesn't matter. Yeah. Well, that's what he does. He waits till then.
I mean, I get it if that's like that is a smart tactic, but I was like, this is the car I want, I can afford it, and it's going to hopefully last me a long time. So I was like, oh, I'm okay with waiting, and hopefully it comes sooner than later, but you
Yeah.
know, it is what it is, and I'm not really.
That's going to be so much fun when you get that. Oh.
Oh yeah, all the
man.
chicks,
all the
the chicks,
magnet.
all the chicks are going to be so safe. It's going to be great.
It's a truck, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't even call it a truck. It's like
What?
a little baby truck.
Oh, it's a.
It's a little. My friend Kurt, he goes, "You can't even use the word truck. This is a car," because he gets mad at me when I call his trucks cars. It's like, "Hey, are we getting in the car?" He's like, "It's truck." I'm like, "Oh, who cares?" It's like automobile. I'll just use automobile. He, she, him, her. Like that's.
truck. It's my truck.
But yeah, it's one of those funny scenarios where I was like, I haven't bought a car, but of course today's world is upside down, where like there's no cars, but there are cars. But if you want a car, it's gonna be like $20,000 more. Like
That's
how
how
do people?
people live in their cars.
I mean, how do people afford
costs
it?
so
I
much.
can't get over that. And especially when you go at entry level, because I was like, okay, maybe if they don't have inventory, what other kind of car manufacturers out there make something similar? And it was like there really wasn't anything that made it similar. And yeah, it's a funny world. Like especially Ford. Ford doesn't have any sedans. Isn't that wild?
So all their eggs are in the truck?
Or like SUV or trucks. That's all they have. They don't make anything else. And I thought that was kind of wild, especially like the EV stuff, because I looked at some of the EV stuff, and I kind of like realized these would be the worst things for me to own, because you have to actually set up the foundation to charge that thing.
That's right.
And I was reading people were like, oh, to install the 220-volt system, you have to have certain things. So it's going to cost you a lot, because if you just do a 110, it's going to take 3 days to charge the car. And I'm like, so people really buy this? And like they live in an apartment? And it's like they depend on the actual stations. So they actually go to these stations and leave their car there for an hour. And they figure, like, what do they sit in the car for an hour? Like, how does that work?
And then you'd have to plan out your trip.
I can't imagine, especially like going to visit friends. Like that's one thing I can't wait to happen is a friend comes over and it's like, oh, hey, can I plug in my car? And people are going to be like, well, how much does that cost? You know, because you're using my energy.
Mm-hmm.
But
and you have it attached to where they have to put
I love that idea.
Cash in. But it's funny because people want to plug in their phones, they want to plug in their car. But the batteries, though, that are so expensive if something happens to it.
Well, I mean, I think it's such a situational niche car that a lot of people aren't in that scenario. So people who buy those cars, from what I read, is they love the idea of it, but it just didn't fit their lifestyle. But then the people who really love it is because they work 20 minutes away from home.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
They literally just drive that car around town because I live in downtown Houston and it works.
It's like the grandma.
But like if you lived up here and drove to Houston every day, and it's like, okay, I forgot to charge it. Well, I can't take my car for another 2 hours. Time blindness is really going to affect people.
Maybe that's what caused
that's
that
what's
whole
gonna happen.
thing. Is that for sure?
But no, the car I got, it's a hybrid, so it gets like 40 miles to the gallon, which doesn't even seem real to me.
No.
And some people, it's like, yeah, I don't fill up my truck for like 3 weeks. I was like, man, can you imagine just never going to the gas station? Like, imagine you're one of those electrical vehicle people. Like, you never go to the gas station.
No, I went to the gas station, and I went up to I never go to the window and talk to the person. But today I
do
realized
every time. I always use cash when I get gas.
I didn't have enough money, so I'm just going to get enough so that I can take the kids to school and stuff. So I went, and I said, all right, I want $3. Here's $3 cash, and then I won't put $5 on this card. And she said, you want $8 worth of gas? And I said, yes. And that's it. Just stop the pump at 8. And she said, okay, no problem. So she said, in which car? And I pointed to where my car was. Yeah. And I go back over there, and it's not changing anything. It's whoever was there last, is all their information's up there. I'm going like, oh no, maybe she just gave my $8 to somebody else. And so I went back over there and I said, you saw what my car was? And she said, oh, it didn't come out. Let me reset it. So, but she was like, she was kind of offended. Like, you're only going to get $8 worth of gas.
Well, yeah, whatever.
That's only going to get you down to that first stoplight.
Not my car. It'll get you all the way to Houston.
No, that's right. You're right. You're in a Focus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little blue bomber.
The Focus.
Has a different noise every day. It's great.
From the squirrel.
Oh, no, that's one thing I like. Well, it's so funny because I've loved that car. I've had it for so long. And what's great is I've had a cracked windshield since like year 2. Because I remember, because I live in Houston and I got a cracked windshield in my first year and I fixed it. I paid money and I was like, all right, cool. And then I cracked again. And I was like, I'll just pay someone to seal the crack. Like, we're cool. And then it cracked again, another crack. And I'm like, this is just part of life.
Now, how are you looking at Are you?
Oh no,
looking over the crack?
I've gotten so used to it where it's like I don't even notice it. And everyone gets in my car, I'm like, how do you drive this? And I'm like, you know what?
It's like,
Very carefully.
it's like I had a phone that had so many. It was
Yeah.
so horrible. I couldn't tell who it was on the phone.
And if you didn't have Siri, you wouldn't have no idea what to do.
no. I
But yeah,
wouldn't-
it's gonna be
wouldn't know.
weird driving a car that work. Like actually, is like doesn't make a lot of noise and has a
Oh,
nice
you're gonna be
windshield.
so proud, and
Oh yeah.
all those dates you're gonna get from that. I can't wait. He's gonna own a radio station. He'll have a brand new truck, and it's gonna be a triple threat to everybody else out there wanting to.
Yeah. Watch your wife.
dates. Yeah, watch
That's my new thing now.
your
I'm
wife.
just gonna take wives.
Well, you know, and that your friends in Austin don't want you to come down because you're too cute and.
No, I'll take
you
all their
got
wives.
All this stuff, and you're going to take their wives, and their wives are pining over Richard.
I love it.
You should see how red he just got.
Oh, man.
I just saw it. That was a whole red face.
Well,
you
because I'm
got.
not kidding. I'm coming after him. I'm like, I'm just morals be
You're not
damned.
kidding. Morals be. Oh, shame on you. That's sad.
Yeah. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna find who their husband is and make sure he's a big dude, and just be like, I gotta see if this guy's gonna fight me.
Richard, don't you
That's
think
my new
like
thing.
that?
It's my new thing, Cindy. It's my
What?
new thing.
Your new
You know what
song.
I saw the other day? They were opening. You know that Moku Food Hall closed.
What?
You don't care. You don't even know.
No.
It's been closed for like 5 months.
I didn't.
So
I didn't
they're
know
they're
that.
putting a barcade there. So it's an arcade with a bar, and you have to be 18 or older after like 6 p.m. And
That huge place.
yeah, they're
Are
gonna
they gonna
have
have entertainment?
pinball and arcades and food, and so it's not like a restaurant. It's like more of a bar.
It's gonna be like a Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, but for
Oh.
adults. So I'm totally down.
Oh,
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
oh, you can meet a lot of girls like that.
Yeah, they're all gonna be like 18. It's gonna
Yeah.
be solid.
What age girl are you looking for now?
I'm not looking for any women.
Any
I told you
age?
I'm looking for the husband who's going to beat me up.
Okay,
that's the first thing I look for, Cindy. It's not the woman. I'm like,
You
is
want-
this guy capable of killing me?
You want her married so that there's no chance that you're gonna marry this girl, right? Because she's already married.
Yeah. No, I just like the drama. You know, it's
The
just-
drama of it,
uh,
the sneaking around and all
Yeah,
that.
it's-
Yeah. Oh, that's.
I haven't done it yet, so it's just like, hey, you live once, might as
Yeah.
well,
Well,
or go to the
you were
barcade
so-
and hook up with a bunch of 18-year-olds.
But you were so perfect in your first marriage that that now you're gonna be wild, right?
No,
Okay, good boy.
I want to play video games.
I'm
I want
proud.
to play pinball and then just be left alone.
That's perfect because girls, if a guy acts like is too forward, and then you'll never be that, that aggressive.
No, I'll be
guy.
forward if I want something, but the chances of me wanting something very rare.
Yeah, but
So
I can't wait for the book he writes. It's going to be so much fun.
yeah.
Speaking of books that
Speaking
you
of
write,
drug use,
no,
is it time for your pill?
no. Now I want to talk about tomorrow's guest. We
Oh,
have a
yeah.
special guest tomorrow. It is Kenny Noble Cortez.
So we're gonna be on tomorrow.
We're going to be on live, and we're going to Zoom it. And so it's going to be so much fun. You've got to be. It's going to be so inspiring life that he's had, and we're going to talk to him. And so anyway, and what's totally great is that he used to date me, so that's his. Okay, yeah, I'm leaving. Okay, first.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process of helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran's show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
Did you know that there are over 153 million orphans in the world today? The sad reality is 99% of those kids will likely never be adopted. Core Love is an organization right here in Conroe that takes care of orphan children in Haiti, Honduras, and India.